At $10,000 less than a Civic Type R, the Elantra N delivers a comparable and in many ways a more complete experience. The question is simple: where, if anywhere, does it fall short? Welcome to Autolab.
Right away, the biggest difference is the engine's performance. The Elantra N makes 276 horsepower, while the Civic Type R makes 310. Now that's not a huge difference on its own. In fact, you could probably tune this to make it a little bit faster, but it's enough to make it feel as stock, a little bit slower than the Type R. Both cars feature a 2-liter turbo engine. However, in this car, that turbo has an enormous amount of turbo lag. First gear pulls end up feeling a little slow as a result of that turbo lag. I mean, you have to shift into second, and then by the time you're into second, it has to rebuild that boost, and it ends up just kind of hitting you in the face all at once with that built-up boost. Not to say that it's bad, it's actually quite fun, but you just may not win off the line, especially with how finicky launch control is in this car. I'm going to see if I can get it to work. If not, I'm just going to do a manual launch and see if I can get it to, work properly. All it really tells me is to press activate in here, and then it says launch control is active for 5 minutes. Based on what I've read online is that you're supposed to do clutch all the way in, put it into gear, and then hold down on the throttle. And it looks like it works. When it comes to launch control, the automatic is going to be a lot faster. There's no question about it. It's a wet DCT as opposed to a 6-speed manual gearbox, and it comes with the fancy N-grin shift, or whatever they call it. That allows the engine to make 286 horsepower temporarily while in that mode. It puts the power down more consistently while you're trying to do a launch. When it comes to that DCT clutch though, it's $1,500 more expensive than this manual transmission. And honestly, I think I would rather have the manual transmission. It's surprisingly easy to live with, it has rev match, hill start assist, and it even spools the engine up a little bit when you lift off the clutch to help keep you from stalling. The clutch is decently light and super tactile. The only issue is that it does have a lightweight flywheel, so it makes the car a little easy to stall. All things considered though, this would be a great car to learn manual on, especially with how customizable everything is. So in the Elantra N, you have this fancy N mode screen that Hyundai gives you. In here, there's a bunch of different performance screens. You can actually see your throttle percentage, so as you move it or different things like that, it will rev up and show you your actual throttle percentage that's being pressed. And you also have lap timers, so you can actually track your lap around various circuits. Speaking of the circuits, you have this screen here that will show you a bunch of different circuits all around the country. Since we're in the US, it only shows us the United States. Other than that, you do have this screen. Now this is where you get a lot of more customization with the car. So you can change if you want a normal engine experience, a more sporty, or a sport plus. And you can do the same thing for your steering, suspension, rev matching, so you can have either off, normal, sport, or sport plus, which just gives it a more aggressive and faster rev match. And you also have modes for your electronic stability control, as well as your electronic limited slip differential. And other than that, you can actually see a bunch of cool graphs, like your G-force over a certain amount of time, and then other different performance options. So with launch control, you can actually have launch control go all the way up and start at 5,000 RPMs, and then when your shift light comes on, so you can have it come on all the way up at 6,700 RPMs. And then you do have this active sound design, which you can change to have a lot of sound or no sound at all. Under the advanced options, you can actually choose which car it sounds like. Like you can do a more sporty car, or the TCR car, or a rally car. But if I'm going to be honest, I don't really hear any difference, no matter how often or how much I change the settings in here. Now when it comes to those fancy N-drive modes, you do get a lot of customization, like I said before. You obviously can control your suspension, your steering, and then even your engine's throttle response. It allows you to get a pretty customizable driving experience where you can either have a really light steering wheel, very stiff suspension, and a very responsive engine, or you can make it be completely no responsive engine, extremely stiff steering, and extremely loose suspension. You overall have a very customizable experience. The only issue with this car is that it does suffer from a lot of torque steer. Now, Hyundai has said that they've done a few things to make the torque steer feel limited in this car, but it's a pretty zippy engine, and when that turbo lag kicks in, there is a lot of torque steer, even with the limited slip differential that's in this car. And that limited slip differential is very important, and it's also customizable. In the N mode, you can customize the actual response of that limited slip differential. And you're gonna want to, because it can lead to some moments where you're driving the car probably a little harder than you should, to feel like the car has a mind of its own. That torque steer can be pretty rough in this car. Now, while we're on the topic of performance, this car features an integrated drive axle. And what that means is that three components that typically wear on their own time, the hub, the bearing, and the axle, are all integrated as one. And this is something that's featured in a lot of rally cars because it's more performant and a lot stronger. Now, unfortunately, that means that if any part in that chain breaks, it's going to be a very expensive and very time-consuming repair. Now, this car does feature an active exhaust, and what that means is that it opens up one of the flaps in one of the dual exhaust ports and allows more sound to come out of it. And it sounds decently good. It's got some pops and bangs that it does in the N mode, and overall, it just makes it feel a little bit more exciting to drive. With that active exhaust though, you do get some piped-in engine noise that Hyundai allows you to manipulate and change inside of the infotainment to make it sound like their rally car or some other ones, and you can even change if it's more whiny or more throaty or more bassy. The only thing is that I keep trying all the different modes and I don't hear any difference between any of them. I don't know if that's just me. Maybe Dylan will hear something different. Another thing that's really nice with this car is that Hyundai pairs it with Michelin PS4S's, and they're really grippy tires. The only issue is that if you happen to live in an area that gets inclement weather, you're gonna want to spring for more suitable tires for the weather. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take it out of their N mode and put it in the Eco mode, and what that does is it lightens up the suspension, gives the steering a little bit more play, and allows the throttle response to be more energy preservant. And what that does is allows me to get 27 miles to the gallon as opposed to this 13 that I was getting in the N mode. That's probably just because I was driving it really harsh and it wastes a little bit extra gas to give those pops and bangs in the exhaust. Now when you put that car in eco mode, it becomes a more livable car. It allows it to be a more enjoyable driving experience for not only yourself, but also the passengers. It's really light, very easy to drive, and you can even use Kia's or Hyundai's lane keep assist and steering control that makes the car kind of drive itself. The only thing is that it doesn't have adaptive cruise control, but it does have forward collision avoidance. The only downside to eco mode is that you can't enable rev matching. I mean, obviously they want to preserve the engine, and revving the engine up to rev match, you know, it wastes a little bit more gas. I just wish that you could enable that mode just because it makes the car a little bit easier to drive. Otherwise, you're gonna have to rev match yourself. I'm gonna go ahead and let Dylan drive this car because I've had this for an entire week and he hasn't been able to drive it yet. So we're gonna get his opinions on it now.
All right. Into N mode. Right off the bat, I can tell you it doesn't have a lot of pull in first gear. All the power comes in after you change to second gear. That's a little disappointing. I haven't experienced the same thing in the Civic Type R anytime I've drove it, which I will admit hasn't been a lot, but it's been enough to pull it and notice that it does have enough torque and enough horsepower in first gear to give you that visceral power right off of the line. This, although the power does feel raw and it generates that emotion that you want from a performance car, it doesn't happen until you've reached about 4,000 RPM in second gear. Something else I've noticed is the steering. It almost feels, to those who are technologically inclined, like I'm driving on a monitor that has a really high response time. There's almost a sort of lag. I bring it over and it feels like there's a delay between when I turn and when the car responds. Maybe that has to do with the torque steer like Matt was telling me. Maybe that has to do with the electronic steering not being quite where it should be. But it's noticeable. Coming from other cars that are much more responsive, much more agile, and willing to do what you want them to do, it's a little disappointing not to see that here from the Elantra. That being said, once the steering does what you want it to do and what you tell it to do, it is very, very agile. Even though it does have a little bit of understeer, being a front-wheel drive performance car, it's not something that's going to disconnect you from the experience. You still feel very engaged, you still feel very in tune with the car, which is something that I like to see. So there are a lot of pros, and I'm not saying in any way that this is a terrible car as I go into the cons, because it's not. And when I compare this to the Civic Type R, it really does grab me that this is $10,000 or $12,000 less than the Type R. So I do expect more of the other car, but they're in the same market and they compete directly with each other. So I have to compare them. Now, that being said, shifter throws in the Civic Type R are shorter, snappier, and more tactile, which makes it feel more engaging and makes you more enthusiastic to throw it through gears. This feels almost like a WRX. The WRX, when it comes to the clutch, is way too stiff. This car is a bit lighter, makes it more comfortable, and the bite point is a bit more engaging, which I like. Now here's the thing. I am left a little disappointed, and maybe this is just a first impression. I wanted more torque. I wanted more acceleration feel off of the line, and I just don't have that. If I'm really just talking driving feel and engagement, this is still a very invigorating drive. It is still something that I get in and I'm having a lot of fun, because you still get a very good driving experience. You still get an absolutely monstrous exhaust noise that pops and crackles and does all the noises you want it to do to satisfy your childlike wonder. So, like I said, Matt and I do have differing opinions when it comes to styling, both exterior and interior. So, I'm gonna catch up with him and we're gonna see exactly how different those opinions are.
So have you changed your mind? Do you think it's actually a good car now, or?
I never said it wasn't a good car.
Okay.
So I do think it is a decent car. It's good for the price. I'd rather have the Type R.
Okay, well then let's talk about something that you and I can actually agree on. The color.
Oh, I love the color.
The white, we both like, but I think you and I both prefer a different color that comes in.
The championship white for the Type R. Or are you talking about this car?
I'm talking about this car.
Okay, let's stay on topic. This
I'm
car.
talking about the blue that this car comes in.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that color was perfect.
I'm inclined to agree. The red is too out there.
The red is too out there.
too
I
out
don't
there.
like the red stripes on this at all.
Well, I do on the white.
On the white, it looks good.
I like it on the
black,
white.
it looks good, but on any other color, it doesn't look good.
It's yeah, no, I wish you could get the blue without the red accents.
The redesign of this, though, is beautiful.
So in comparison to the last one, yes.
In comparison to the last one, it's perfect.
Yeah.
I like these lights and turn signals a lot better than the Honda Civic.
Yeah.
Can we agree on that?
Yes, and the DRLs are nice too.
The DRLs are perfect on this car. Yeah, go ahead, turn them on. They look really cool. I'm a big fan of them.
I would like if it went more of a Sonata approach and did the DRL across.
Yeah, but you know, it's not a Sonata, it's an Elantra.
Fine, fine, yeah.
But what this car is meant to be is it's meant to undercut literally everybody. That's what the Elantra is.
Yeah.
It's undercut the Honda Civic. It's undercut the Type R. I think it's perfect.
It does that, yeah. I do have some gripes with the exterior styling. It's too angular. There's too many styling lines, especially on the sides.
That's what makes it unique,
That's
though.
fine.
What other car out there does it?
None, and that's good. Everybody talks about these lines and they go, wow, that's beautiful. I wish more cars did that.
Okay.
I wish this car didn't do it.
Think of your high school self. when you
Gross.
had your Honda Civic,
Okay.
right? This is the car that you would have loved to have.
You're right.
Right?
But
The
he was
lighting
wrong.
it doesn't matter if he was wrong. The lighting on the seats, the lighting on the front grille.
Oh, this guy and the lighting on the seats.
It's cool.
Oh, it's cool. It's cool. Okay, but you're 16. That's
I'm
what
not
that
16.
appeals to.
If I was 16 and bald, I'd kill myself.
You were 16 and bald.
No, I was 18 and bald. That's different.
Fine, but there's like a Z here. It's like Z for what's that movie? Z for there's a Z on the side. I don't like it.
It's okay to be wrong.
Zorro. Z
Zathura?
for no, not Zathura. Z for V for Vendetta. That's what I'm thinking.
World-class car reviewer right here.
That has nothing to do with cars. I am not completely against angular lines. I like it on the hood.
Okay.
I don't like it on the side. The rear end,
But you like the spoiler.
I love the spoiler. I'm so conflicted with the rear end. It's so angular.
This car is unique. There's no other car out there that looks like this.
Good?
No, not good.
I'm not a fan.
You just don't like it because it doesn't have a big grill on the front of it.
Correct. I wish it did have a big grill. The last one did. It's so conflicting, man, because I like this better than the last one, but I like the fact that the last one had a big grill. This one doesn't.
The lights on this were better though.
No, they are.
The lights are better. I don't know.
They are.
You're just wrong.
Well, I'm not wrong.
No, you are wrong.
No, I'm not though, because it could be, and I talked about this in our Mazda 3 video. I've talked about it in like every Mazda video because Mazda does the flat panels, right? Flat all along. I like that. It's simple, it's minimalistic.
So you're a minimalistic guy that doesn't like to try anything fancy?
No!
Your girlfriend must love you.
What girlfriend? Single, by the way.
And moving on. Anyways, the Elantra N is one of those cars that just feels like it just shouldn't exist. It's cheaper than the Honda Civic, it's less powerful than the Honda Civic, and yet it does give a more complete performance experience.
And that performance experience is absolutely crucial, because unfortunately, this does fall short in other categories, like the interior, where the Honda Civic has the very comfortable seats, although they are the Ballbuster 9000s. This, on the other hand, has that extremely intoxicating exhaust note, one where you see a bridge coming up and you rev bomb it to make every pop and crackle as loud as possible.
Dylan did that quite a few times.
Yeah, I might have done that. The fact of the matter is that
For $10,000 less than the Honda Civic, who cares if the interior is just a little bit more plastic?
because overall, it's an amazing car.
Thanks for watching.